What's up, everybody? Welcome. Today on the show, we're going to see a group of evil spirits get defeated by the truth. This, I gotta see. I gotta see what's going on here. Warning. This starts weird. I'm talking about weirder than you would think a video called A Group of Evil Spirits Gets Defeated by the Truth would start. I'm going to prove it to you now. I'm a man of my word. We begin in Secrets of Heaven 2751 with the following phrase. Diagonally up in front of my left eye was a clump of people. Diagonally up in front of my left eye was a clump of people. Was that the Dark and Stormy Night contest where they try to figure out what's the best way to open up a story? I think the best opening line is diagonally up in front of my left eye was a clump of people. The entire spiritual world can map onto the human body. The human body is order itself. The human form is order itself, and the human body is a physical rendering of that. So within the human body is every kind of useful function you can imagine. Any sort of sorting or moving or purifying, whatever it is to produce something orderly, it's done somewhere in the body. And on a grand scale, every kind of person that you can become, because they all answer to some use or function. Every kind of person you can become, whether you're somebody who's interested in learning or in constructing or in criticizing or whatever it is, you match up with some part of the body. You match up with some part of the body. And so God can see the whole of heaven and the human race as a single body. And so when Swedenborg would encounter spirits, he would be able to tell things about their quality based on what part of his body they appeared around and interacted with. Your body is a table of contents to the entire human psyche. Okay? Nothing to it. Diagonally up in front of my left eye was a clump of people. What are these clumpies doing? Who in physical life had plotted secretly and with exceptional skill. Not a good start. If you're plotting secretly, especially with exceptional skill, maybe you're not good, but maybe this is just like some sort of scoundrelly rogues. Maybe they're not that bad. We'll see what they're all about. They were adulterers. Ah, man. Commandments. Breaking those commandments. Evil's bunch. Evil's bunch. That's Swedenborg. You're bunching evils. Often, if you're into one kind of thing that is duplicitous and harmful, you're into another. These people are like, oh yeah, I'm going to plot secretly for things over here, and I'm also going to plot secretly about how I can destroy this marriage through adultery. They were adulterers and were still in the world of spirits, having arrived fairly recently. So you're talking about there was people who were in the world like you and I, and while they were there, they were doing the adultery and doing the plotting, and then life ends like it does for everyone, and they're here. World of spirits. Just arrived. But just because your body dies, your spirit's the same, your mind's the same, the habits, the things you did here, they come with you. They were in the habit of sending certain members of the group out in different directions to scheme. Okay, scheming. Come on now. Scheming is generally frowned upon. Not only against married love. And watch this triplet. Not only against married love, but also against goodness and truth. And especially against the Lord. So these people from this clump, you got a clump, and they're all, I guess they're kind of hanging out more toward the hell side. And they're saying, all right, everybody go out, try to find people like Swedenborg or any person who happens to be around, and let's plot against, you gotta plot against marriage, married love, which they were already into, but then against goodness and truth, and especially against the Lord. Why do those things go together? It's because goodness and truth, the urge to do what is right, the underlying essence of goodness itself, and truth love each other. They love each other like husband and wife love each other. Like they fell in love in some rom-com and got married. That's the relationship between what is good and what is true. You might think of it as, oh, there's just these weird particles of existence, but Swedenborg is adamant that it is a marriage between them. And actually the marriages that human beings experience, this coupling and this commitment and the friendship and everything that goes with that, that is a reflection of the joining of goodness and truth. So if you don't like one, you don't like the other. And particularly the place where goodness and truth are joined and where they exist together is in God, is in the Lord. So once you get into the world of spirits, if you were against sort of the outermost aspects of that, like these spirits were into whatever they did to harm people's marriages, now they don't want anything to do with goodness and truth. Now they don't want anything to do with the Lord. What's going to happen next? So they send these people out to go try to destroy that stuff. And then the agents return to them and tell what they have heard. And in this way, they consult together. Okay, so they're going out gathering information, learning things, and then coming back. They also sent one of their number to me, thinking I was a spirit, since I spoke the spirit's language. You may say, what does any of this have to do with me? I'm a person, I live in the world. Don't talk to me so much about spirits and stuff. You're a spirit. You are a spirit. You're a spirit, but you got a body on. And most of us are immersed in the body and focused on the body, which is fine. Swedenborg was in a state where his spirit could go elsewhere, where he could become aware of his spirit and be operating in his spirit, so much so that to the other spirits they thought, okay, he's one of us. And he speaks the language of spirits. This is too much trivia. This is too much sidetracking, but I have to tell you this. He speaks the language of spirits natively because the language of spirits is what we do with human language, is we'll take an object, like, oh, this is something, I guess I'll call this pen. I'll put a word on top of it, or stylus, I'll put a word on top of it. Spiritually, this object, what it is in its core, has a sound. It has an expression, and spiritual language is just the saying of that thing. So everybody knows that deep down, and when you get into the world of spirits, you speak that language. So they thought Swedenborg was a spirit coming up to him. When the messenger spoke, he babbled on. Get him, Swedenborg. Presenting various impediments to belief, especially to belief in the Lord. It was as if he was composed of nothing but barriers to faith. So this spirit's coming out and saying all kinds of stuff against the idea that there's a human God, which is Jesus Christ, the Lord. The one God as a person that you can get to know and who cares about everything. And this messenger was having none of that. Composed of nothing but barriers to faith. So obviously Swedenborg isn't going to like that, but he's a spiritual sort of guy. So he's going to be gentle and courteous with this spirit. Stop talking that way, I answered. I know what ball of dung you come from. I should have used that on the playground when I was a kid. I know what ball of dung you come from. As far as the Lord goes, remember, the Lord is what this other spirit is speaking against. I know without any doubt, look at the nature of his response here. I know without any doubt that he is one with the Father and that the whole of heaven is his. There's one God. It's the human God. I know that he is the source of all innocence, peace, love, charity, and mercy, the source of all marriage love, the source of everything good and true, all of which is divine. He probably didn't screw up his words. I know that Moses and the prophets, that is, each and every word of Scripture, in its inner meaning, has to do with him. I know that all the rituals of the Jewish church represented him. And now, since I am so sure of all that there is no doubt in my mind, what more do you want? At this, he retreated in shame. It's kind of like if you're on a calling list and you're trying to get someone to vote for a certain candidate, and you call up and say, can I count on your vote for, and you accidentally called someone who's of the opposite political party, and they're like, no, I won't vote for that because of this, that. Swedenborg is very vehemently pushing back on this and lists a bunch of pillars of his belief system. Because the Spirit is trying to say, you don't believe God, I don't know exactly what he said, but somehow don't believe in God. And Swedenborg is saying, hey, guess what? I'm not going to go take you point for point. I'm going to say this. That stuff is in my soul. It's at the core of me. What else do you want? I already like my cable speeds. You know, when somebody's at your door and they're like, hey, don't you want to upgrade to this other cable thing? We can give you a great deal. And you're like, no, I don't want it. When I say cable, I mean internet. I don't want that. I don't care. I don't want to hear about the deal. I don't want you to be here. It's dinner. I don't want you to come to my door. That's kind of the vibe that he's giving here. Spirit retreats in shame. Why does he bother to go so far with all this stuff? Why not just say, no thanks, and that's it? The reason I said all I did was so that he would report it back to the adulterers that constituted the unholy clump, that's going to be my new band name, that had sent him. He's trying to do him a solid. Because in Swedenborg's mind, those things he just said are of great importance to know. They will help you be happy, come into the happiness of heaven. It's really good stuff. So he knows this Spirit is going to go back, as they're doing with all of them, and tell the rest of that clump. This one can't stand. Sorry, you're going to have to get replaced. That what he heard, and maybe that will make an impact. This is an example of something that comes up in Swedenborg called the affirmative principle. And the affirmative principle is when you make a call to say, I'm not arguing this right now. I am starting with the fact that I believe in these things, and I am sticking with that. And I'm not going to give you the opportunity to try to pry me out of that. Which sounds good, but also seems to have a problem of, isn't that kind of religious fanaticism? I don't want to listen to any arguments against it. It has to do with when, the context and when. Because with things like Swedenborg was just listing, with the nature of God, the nature of things like the Bible and religious scriptures and rituals and things, you can't have a real belief in those if somebody just told you to. You have to question that stuff. And Swedenborg says this over and over. You have to weigh those things in your mind, and throughout the course of your life, try to decide, do I really believe this? These things that they say are good, do I really believe they're good? These things that I've heard are true, do I really believe that they're true? You have to do that, or else you can't actually ever have a living faith. But that's what you do on your own time when nobody's messing with you, when it's peaceful and when you have the freedom to really explore for yourself. When you're under attack, and I would say most often this happens in your own mind, when your thoughts are barging in and they're saying, hey, why don't you despair about your life? Why don't you worry about the future? There's nobody who's going to help you. That's when you say, I know what ball of dung you come from. When you can tell that the intent is just to sell you misery. You say, no, I'm not listening to that. I'm rubber, you're glue. Bounces off me, sticks to you. God exists, God is love. Divine providence is in every detail. Heaven comes from loving the neighbor. Whatever your pillars are, you stick in them. Because there's times when that's what's needed. So you don't need to have conversations with your mind, with people when they're trying to push in and remove your freedom and trying to harm you. The time when you question your beliefs and things gotta happen, but you do it on your own time when you're in freedom to pursue and learn. So that's the story of this clump of evil spirits being defeated by the truth. You notice that as soon as Swedenborg was firm in that stuff, they couldn't come in. Just like if you know, I am a worthwhile person. My life does have a future. When you're convicted in that, your despair and your misery, your depression can't get you there. There's times when, yep, I got to stand strong in that. Send you back to your clump, you ball of dung. I'm not having it right now. Yeah, and that's what's up.